you so much. So, yeah, and as it was announced, yeah, Jerry could put the next slide. We're gonna have a very special interview today with our dear brother, Roland. Yeah, and while they're getting seated, and my husband's gonna be interviewing him, and while they're getting situated, yeah, I just wanted to say that personally, Roland was one of the first people that I met close when I came to the United States. He was my first center leader, my first leader overall, right? Not directly, but, and I remember having those long conversations one time in one of the cafes. Yeah, definitely, this is an amazing person with a quiet love that worked so hard for so long and did so many wonderful things. And I cannot cover everything today, but there's no way it can all fit in 40 minutes. But he wanted to share today some part of his heart that he felt is very important and he wanted to share with his family. So, let's welcome.
Welcome, Roland. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Buenos dias. Guten Morgen. Ohayou gozaimasu.
Bonjour.
Okay, how's it going, everyone? Good. So this interview is, I think, maybe overdue. I think everyone should know who this person is, and they should hear his story. I think for many people, introduction is not necessary, right? Introducing him. However, I think introduction / acknowledgement is important, right? This is the person who dedicated 30 years, more than 30 years of his life. I would formulate it as keeping hand on America's future health, spiritual health. Because all of us, to a degree, been involved in that. But this is the person who actually really took care of America's future health, and I mean young people of our country, our second and third generation, right? We often don't think about our liver, right? Unless it hurts. Anybody has a liver that hurts? No? But it quietly works behind the scenes, right? Without liver, we'd die. Right? So this is our liver. Right?
That's a new one.
Yeah. Cleans the blood. Liver cleans the blood, right? Many times, I know we've been part of this community together, me and Roland, and he's been part of this community, but not often, maybe almost never, right? You actually gave a talk or sermon or anything like that, because to be honest, we were really tired and wiped out from cleaning all the blood in the body. So, but this is, I think, a time because in his life there's this, we catch him in a very interesting time of transition, right? From one part of his life, he's graduating to become a heart. From a liver, right? Or brain, I don't know, what are you moving up to? Yeah? Or you going lower? I don't know. Stomach, becoming a stomach, digesting things? Great. Yes. So, just sorry, I'm talking a little bit, just letting him to gather his thoughts maybe. He doesn't really, he knows what I'm going to ask kind of, but he doesn't so much. So my first encounter with this guy, I came to America in 96, I think. My first encounter with him was, I got dropped off with fundraising, okay? I came to MFT here. I think Liz was there, no? Were you in MFT?
Yeah, but I
But yeah, no, you're not with us. I mean, you were in our.
Yes, I was in your group, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
And I remember, never forget, we dropped off an apartment complex. And apartments have like and he's running up the top, right? And we're doing so-called like, we start ODU, but like he starts from the top, I start from the bottom. And then I hear the door flies open, and I hear, "You are my sunshine, my only son." I'm like, this guy is singing to a customer, right? And I'm like, damn, right? What did I ever say? Yeah, what kind of guy is this? And then he sang to customers, every customer he met. And I'm like, wait, I mean, I'm Russian, I don't sing. Like, I'm like really, right? I don't smile. But I remember, I was like, let me try this. And I actually really loved it. And I kept singing for a month. Like, after that, like, I had a condition. Anybody I meet, I just sing. I don't even introduce myself. Like, hi, you are my son. Some weird reactions from people, you know. Some people run, some people smile, some people liked it, some whatever, right? But this person inspired me quite a bit in my life of faith, and then we've been working together for a long time, on and off. 2 years, I think you disappeared into jungles of Brazil, right, to develop STF there. But we've pretty much been working, and then he invested so much into young people in this room. So, but I want to first address the elephant in the room. What nationality are you? Are you Russian? Are you South African? Are you British? Are you American? Where is your accent from?
Okay, so my heart is American.
Yeah.
I love this country, and then it's interesting because I grew up in France, and French people are not really pro-American. So I didn't grow up with any good concepts about America, even though my mother's American. Her father came from Russia, or from, we don't know exactly from where, but he came as a child. He immigrated in the early 1900s from Ukraine, or
I think so, from Belarus. I think we're relatives. I really think so.
And then my mom, so yeah, she grew up in Nevada, but my dad, who was born in Hong Kong, British colony at the time, and then my parents met in Mexico and married there, and I was born in the island of Jersey, which is in the Channel Islands between England and France. Lived in Scotland a bit, but mostly, yeah, all my school life was France. So my nationality is American.
Wow, where did that come from? Mexico, Hong Kong. Okay, and then you traveled a lot, right, yourself?
Yeah, so as soon as I could get out of school, I did. That was actually before even school ended. I just walked.
He ended the school, by the way.
Yeah, I decided this is not for me. I was 17 years old, and it was the last year of school, and I was on very much on a spiritual quest, and I couldn't see the point of learning math and science and all those things. Pretty boring for me, and I saw myself doing something very different. I had no idea what, but in a way to almost kind of burn the bridges to a normal life and a regular life. I walked out of school at 17 years old, and a few months later I found myself in Nepal, in the Himalayas, and that I didn't know what that was going to be, but it was a 5-year journey. Mostly.
Were you searching some internal truth, or were you just searching yourself?
I was searching for meaning and purpose. And I knew that there was meaning and purpose in life. And I went through various religions, religious groups, ashrams in India. But mostly I found my closest connection to God I found in nature. So I was very happy hiking in the Himalayas for sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks by myself. And that's where I really felt God and felt at peace. So in a long time in India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, that part of the world, maybe 2-3 years, and then Thailand and Australia and New Zealand, and eventually I'm sailing from New Zealand to Fiji Islands for 3 months.
There's a crazy story he has about. I think. Do you want to tell it, or maybe it's not a?
Which one?
The sailing.
The sailing.
When he almost died. There was a storms, right? And you guys want to hear, or?
Oh yeah. Okay. And I almost died. Yeah, at least like 5 or 6 times before I joined. So looking back, I realized God was really looking out for me. Even I wasn't looking out for myself. I was kind of reckless, adventurous and reckless. Not necessarily reckless because I was like brave, but I didn't care so much.
Unaware.
Yeah. And so I had many incidents. I was snakes in the jungle and like stabbed in Turkey and different things. But yeah, we set out on this yacht from New Zealand to Fiji. It was going to be a 90-day sailing journey. And I was just a crew member. And 3 days after leaving harbor, we hit a massive, like a mega storm. I don't know if you've watched is it called the Perfect Storm? It was one of those, like a convergence of 2 or 3 storms. And our captain was, I was young, I was like 28.
And it's a small boat, right?
Yes, it's a small sailing boat, 12 people on board. Our captain was experienced, he was a veteran, he was like 50s, 60s Dutch boat captain. But he, looking at the barometer dropping and the weather forecast, he was getting nervous. Like you could see it, he was becoming pale. And so we tried different things. Can we outrun the storm? Can we go? We figured there's nothing we can do. We just got to go right through it. So you just hunker down. You just pull down the sails. You close all the hatches. And it lasted 2 days and 3 nights. And we're inside just getting like kind of tossed from side to side. We barely know each other. We left like 3 days earlier from New Zealand. And in that kind of environment, we didn't talk, we didn't eat, we just hunkered down. And we had some emergency meetings like, okay, if a mast breaks, right, these 2 people go up on board and cut the cable so that the mast doesn't become like a harpoon that would like spear the boat. My mission was to get the emergency supplies onto the raft. But besides that, we didn't talk. And pretty much accepted, at least for me, I accepted, oh, this is it. Yeah, this is my luck has run out.
How old were you?
23.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And I thought, well, actually, I thought I've had quite a good life.
Wow. 23.
Had I not joined, I know for certainty I wouldn't be alive today. Like at that rate, there's no way. And I didn't really see myself ever living past like 30.
How old are you now? Your parents saved your life.
56.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He has a crazy stories, and he's also descendant of amazing dad. His dad is the first one to cross North Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
In the dead of winter, in the Chinese junk. You know the Chinese kind of boat. And he was in newspapers even. The dad.
It's all chronicled in my book up here, which is coming out soon. If you want to read all the stories, but my father's book, I condensed it into like 1 chapter. And he was an adventurer, kind of British, a little bit crazy, and wanted to do, before he got married, he wanted to do something which he knew he would never be able to do when he was married, because no sensible wife would let him do that. And so he sailed from Hong Kong to California. So many people have done it solo through the South Pacific, because there's all these islands. You can stop by at islands. But the North Pacific, there's nowhere to stop. And he did it in the winter. And he did it in a Chinese junk, which are not built for ocean. They're built for rivers, carrying cargo along rivers.
So it's Pacific, not Atlantic.
This is the Pacific Ocean, yeah. But yeah, he did it. I mean, he lost 2 masts, were broken in storms. When he arrived, the boat was completely battered in pieces, and the Coast Guard could hardly believe that he made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he said it wasn't a big deal.
Wow, Roland. So, I see where you're adventurous and traveling hard. He likes to travel a lot, so I can see where that comes from. So, how did you meet our movement? Tell us the story of
Okay.
how did you join our family?
So after sailing from New Zealand to Fiji, so got storm passed, we're all alive, yay. And we arrived in Fiji, and I spent a few months in Fiji, mostly snorkeling. I really felt God through, the mountains are beautiful.
So you believed in God. You had.
Yeah. I mean, I had, especially God through nature. Like God through scripture and through tradition. I had been to ashrams and spent time, but it was actually God through nature that really spoke to me.
Not in traditional religious way,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
okay.
So in New Zealand, I was snorkeling a lot and just like, wow. If you've ever been in these tropical coral reefs, it's just like blows your mind. Like the colors, the textures, the variety of everything. And I realized I'd been gone for 5 years. And my family is all spread out. So my mother was still living in France. My father was in spirit world. My 2 sisters, I have 2 elder sisters. One was living in Bali at the time, and then the other one was living in Ecuador. So we were literally all on different continents. And I felt as the son and only kind of man in the family, wow, to initiate, to get my family together. So in those days we didn't have smartphones, we wrote letters, so I wrote letters to all of them.
It's 90s, guys, 90s.
Maybe letters or telegram, I can't remember. But within a few weeks, actually, we all agreed, let's meet in the Canary Islands. Canary Islands are in the Atlantic, off of Africa, they're Spanish islands. Let's meet there for Christmas 1992. So I went to buy my ticket at a travel agency, that's what we did back then. And they gave me 2 options. I got to fly over the States. So I could fly through Los Angeles or I could fly through San Francisco. And Los Angeles wasn't appealing to me at all. Like I felt of American materialism, like I thought of Los Angeles. I don't want to go there. But San Francisco, there could be some...
The home of the heart of the world.
Sorry, there's some spiritual people, some interesting people, some creative people.
He was right.
So I had a layover of about 40 hours. And during that layover, buying gifts for my family. And so, okay, I'm going to spend all the money, whatever I have, I'm going to spend everything. And the last thing I wanted to buy was a Frisbee. I don't know why, but somehow I just imagined my family on the beach in the Canary Islands, and then we're playing Frisbee and having a good time. And then, so I was waking up by Frisbee. So I asked 3 people, and then they're all directing me in a certain way. Like, okay, walk down half a mile, second block, on the take a left. Okay, I ask someone else. Okay, it's down this way. Keep on going. And they led me to Fisherman's Wharf. So this is a place I wouldn't have gone because it's a tourist place and I wasn't into tourist things. But 3 people led me there.
And there's no frisbee sold.
And actually, I went later because we lived in the Bay Area. Every time I went to Fisherman's Wharf, sometimes your kids, right? I walked in there, they were little. I always kind of looked for frisbees. And there's no frisbees. So I don't know if Spirit World exists or not, but 3 people were guiding me to that place. Meanwhile, Pat, who's my spiritual mother, and another brother called Marcus Bonoy. Pat was Pat's wife, now Jimenez. She had a dream the previous night to go to Fisherman's Wharf. So in those times they were not witnessing a Fisherman's Wharf, but she had a dream the previous night. She needed someone to go with her. She found Marcus. They arrived and they looked around for like 5 minutes. They didn't see anyone, and then they saw me. So I'm like the first person they approached there. And I was walking along, and Pat said hi to me, and then, but mostly I was talking to Marcus, and it was just casual conversation, like, who are you, what are you doing, I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. But while talking to him, who knows Marcus Bonoy? Some of you know him. So, we're talking, and then spiritually something was going on. Like, first of all, I could totally trust him. That's like when you travel, especially you travel alone, like you develop this innate sense of who you can trust, who you cannot trust. It's like your lifeline. But immediately I felt, well, I can trust these people. And Marcus, I was looking at him and feeling, he has something that I don't have. So I've been searching all these years, but I knew just looking at him, kind of feeling from him, he has something that I don't have. And the third feeling that came up, this is all within a minute, is I want to be like him. So they invited me to an evening program. They said, there'll be like-minded people, international people from all around the world. We're going to talk about universal principles. And I said, yeah, that would be great. This is my last night alone, or before I meet my family. So I went along with them, and there's a little evening program, icebreakers, and Marcus gave the introduction lecture, and I resonated with everything in it. And I stood up at the end, and I said, this is all great, I agree with everything, but I can't go to this workshop that they were promoting, a 7-day workshop. There's a nice slides with Makama Hill was the camp at the time. And people playing volleyball and playing guitar around the fire, like all these nice pictures. And I said, I'd love to come, but I have a family reunion to attend to, my flight's tomorrow morning. They sat me down, and within 5 minutes, I changed my mind. And I handed over my ticket to them.
Wow.
Because they said they could change it.
Poor family, though.
It's so funny because the ticket wasn't even changeable, but they said they could change it. I just handed it over to them. And we drove off to Makama Hill. I woke up there the next morning, and that was it.
Yep. Did your family make it to Canary Islands?
They did. And first I told them 1 week delay, and they were okay with that. And then at the end, towards the end of the 7 days, I had a big dilemma. So already on the first day of lectures, I knew this is it. Like, I had a powerful experience hearing the fall of man, knowing this truth has atomic power, and this truth can change the world. And I knew I cannot unhear it. I've heard it, I can't just walk away as if I didn't hear it. I knew at this point my life is like changed. But I was still set on going home after 7 days, and I told them, I'll come back after my family reunion. But the staff were adamant that I don't leave.
We'll know what happens. Right?
So yeah, my spiritual mother talked to me quite convincingly, forcefully. You have to stay for 21 days. And on the 7th day, I was like praying, and I was talking to Neville. Neville was the camp director, Neville Roy. I was talking to him on the little bridge over the creek and Macama Hill. And this is a moment where everything changed. And he mentioned this Bible. I was telling him, I've never met this quality of people, selfless people in one place. I met some here or there, but I never met a concentration of really good people who are living for the sake of others, genuinely and pure-hearted. And he told me this Bible verse, or by the fruit, you'll be able to tell if a tree, the trunk, the root is good or not. And then I realized, these people are the fruits of the principle. I didn't know about true parents yet. And intuitively I knew, okay, if I don't come for my family reunion, it's messed up for them and for me and our relationship, and they'll never trust me again. But intuitively I had the sense that God is going to give me a bigger family. And so I made the decision on that bridge right there. Okay, I'm staying for 21 days.
Wow.
Thank you for staying.
Wow.
And meeting me. And having your kids. Awesome. Yeah.
I'm still here.
So, I know there's a lot happened between that and, but I just want to kind of fast forward and what internally happened for you to eventually become a director of one of the most amazing programs on earth? And what inspired you to continue for so long? Because you've been doing this, like the program STF GBA for 25 years, right? What exactly? And then, anyway, sorry, it's just kind of 3 questions in one. Working with Roland for so long, this is a person of actually a hope and a positive outlook on everything, right? So, can you tie all that in? It's like, what really propelled you? And I know you always felt blessed to do what you were doing.
Okay. It's a big one.
I'm setting up for the big letdown after that. So anyway.
Yeah, I was reborn. I loved MFT. From day one until the last day. Somehow I felt I was born to do this. I was so transformed, and I realized this is an incredible training of heart. It's training on different levels. It's training of self-discipline. Wake up every day, you follow a schedule. But more importantly, it's a training in heart to embrace people and to love all kinds of people. So I was on a spiritual journey before I joined, but I was on a very self-centered spiritual journey. It was all about me. And me, I did believe in some kind of perfection. I even believe in some Messiah, that I may meet the Messiah in my lifetime. I had some vision, but the Messiah that I was going to meet was a bearded, barefooted man in the Himalayas, in the snow, walking to the summit of the mountain, and I was walking behind him. That was my vision of the Messiah.
Tell them what Messiah did you meet? That was the first image of Messiah he had.
The first Messiah that I met, I think it was beginning of like 21 days or something. My spiritual mother came, and then she handed me a picture of Father with a rifle.
That's a Messiah.
And it's so funny because I was vegetarian before I joined. So all my concept just melted. Yeah, melted within it. And then the next picture I saw was the big family, true family pictures with like all the kids and all the grandkids, and my image of the Messiah was, of course, a single person. So yeah, all my concepts were quickly dissolved. But yeah, we went through 21 days, and I really liked the principle. And I remember telling the lecturer was about to go to Russia, Alan Felstad. He was, after his 21 days, he was going to Russia to teach, because that was a time when Russia was coming alive. And I asked him, well, can I come with you and learn how to teach? And he just chuckled and he said, oh, you got to do something else first. I didn't know what it was, but it was MFT. And MFT is where you embody and where God's heart becomes real. And I realized, well, everything I had understood about God's heart and God's sorrow and God's brokenness through lectures was intellectual and conceptual. But through fundraising, I felt God's heart every day for people. And just for random people and random strangers. And I realized, oh, this is not my heart, because my heart's pretty small. And I don't really care about these people. But God was caring for, I felt God's heart of salvation for the people that I met. And that's what kept me going and running and singing.
Something that is lacking in the world today, people know a lot, but not practicing, right? Not living it through. So MFT, like you say, is something that principle is great, but if you don't live it, it just becomes a theory. Right?
So I had a lot of conviction in this MFT experience. Just for me, it was 8 years. But I really saw so many lives changed. First generation lives changed. And yeah, from being a fundraiser to becoming a captain. Actually, when I was asked to become a captain, I said, oh, no, I want to keep fundraising because I was born to do this. I could do that for another year or something. Eventually, I became a captain, and then immediately, oh, I was born to do this. Then when they wanted to graduate me from being captain, I said, no, I want to stay as a captain because this is it. And this is my life's, kind of my life's purpose. So I really felt, yeah, I was prepared. I felt very much, because I saw not everyone on MFT had a smooth experience. But I feel very more, looking at my 5 years of traveling and my inheritance and ancestry and everything, I think God kind of prepared me for this MFT experience to really embrace it. Then when we became, we were captains, and then STF was, this is 2001, STF under Shanjanem was, he wanted to revamp the STF program.
H1.
H1, right? He wanted to kind of revamp the program, make it like better, stronger, more solid for the second generation who were coming. And they were, at that point, they were starting to come in big waves. That year, 2001, was for the children of the 82 blessing. I think around that time, we're coming of age, we're 18 years old. So we had, I think that year we had like maybe 70, 80, and then the next year we had 100 and over 100. So there was a bunch of us, I think I counted like 27 or 28 from our MFT. It was the IEF MFT. We were fundraising for the Northeast continent, for everything that was happening in Russia, China, Mongolia.
Thank you.
Mongolia.
It was, in return, I received a wife
Yes.
from Russia.
Good deal.
Yeah, it was worth it.
That was a price.
So yeah, about 27 or 28 of us were captains and assistants, and to kind of help STF. That was 2001 at UTS is where it all started. UTS was our base. And we were asked to do this for 4 months. It was going to be up until Christmas.
So God's Day.
From August up until God's Day. Can you help out? Can you be captains for this program? And somehow we were never told
to stop.
to stop. So we just
I actually remember like kind of counting when is it going to be over, because I had a very difficult team. You know, the brothers and sisters that were on my team back then, they were pretty. Back then, second gen these days are very mellow.
Yeah.
Back then they were very wild and rebellious, and there would be physical fights breaking out on my team. And you still, I don't know your team, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a different breed.
Yes.
You guys are
I can imagine.
nice, mild, very, very able type. Agreeable. But back then it was.
Right.
And also they all had a lot of resentment
Mhm.
towards the church, towards their parents, towards God.
So what made you to stay that long? I know you have transformed a lot of lives, and then thanks to you being director eventually of STF GPA, a lot of the public positions, second generations taking, actually thanks to STF GPA. But what kept you going through the years for that long? Why did you decide to just do it? Is it something you didn't know what to do because you didn't graduate school and have a job, or you felt like, just kidding? I just have to ask that.
And I'm kind of simple-minded. I never thought about it that much.
Okay. But I remember you saying you were born to do this. This is the best job on earth, right?
And I felt deep conviction in this program and in this experience, and SCFGPA morphed, right, over the years. So I think when we started, we kind of did MFT style, and we thought, right, this is what we went through, so let's do the same thing for them. And quickly we realized it doesn't work, so we changed ourselves, right, to really learn and adapt to taking care of blessed children. And over the course of years, just this conviction in me grew stronger and stronger, seeing lives changed. Quite radical transformation from hating the church and God and their families to within a few months of STF, sharing testimonies with tears about their love, right, and their rebirth experience. So seeing that, I felt this program is incredibly valuable. And about the positivity, so I never saw myself as being a positive person, but I guess compared to others, maybe I was through, I don't know, my genes or my parents or something that they did. But I also worked quite a lot on gratitude, and especially in the last maybe 10 years. Like when we were on MFT, gratitude was just one checkmark thing. So there was be humble, focus, be grateful. It's just like kind of one thing that we did out of many different characters. But over the last 10 years, I've come to really feel that gratitude is the key. And gratitude is the very essence of how we're meant to live, and even our relationship with God is based on gratitude. I guess if you think about Hyojong, my mother talks about Hyojong, it is the expression of gratitude towards your parents, right? So yeah, through Chupan's words, but also through my own insights and experiences, I really dove into gratitude. And I think that's the only way I could keep going, because it wasn't easy, right? All these STF GPA years, all the changes in leadership, every few years we had to regain the trust.
Just to add something quickly, this is the most underappreciated person, because even though his gratitude was very contagious, number one, right? When you're around him, you feel everything. Like, for me, it's like, oh, what we do? when you're around him, you feel everything's gonna be fine. Alright?
Yeah.
But another thing is, this guy was basically put into the mud with his face so many times, and then almost fired so many times. Eventually successfully. They succeeded, but I'm just saying, what he was talking about, he had to overcome a lot, right? And his gratitude is not words, it actually comes from inside of his heart, right? And then just to add like to the program, young people transform through experiential learning, not through lectures, right? And that's what the power, I felt like he believed the power of GPA and STF was. It's an experiential transformation, right? It's not just like in here, right? So, yeah, sorry, continue, yeah.
Yeah, my insight about gratitude is the valve, and the more it is the valve for God's love to flow in. And the reason it's up to us, right? Actually, God's love is always all around us. And we're always surrounded by God's love in so many different forms, right? Through nature, through the people, through food, through the environment, right? God's love is just constantly around us. But if we're stuck, if the valve is barely open,
Like a clogged heart.
like clogged, right? Then it's so easy to get stuck in complaint and resentment. But the more you can open that valve through that, then the more love flows in, and then the more love flows in, the more you can share with others.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I came to really, really feel, and that's why gratitude is the key and is the essence, and it's the way to reverse all the fallen natures. If you think of fallen natures came out of envy and comparing and jealousy. Gratitude reverses all of that.
And so I know that gratitude was challenged recently, right?
Yes.
Quite severely. Can you share a little bit about what happened motivated him to write this amazing book I heard? It's going to be a bestseller, right? Defining Moments in the Blessed Life. But I know the gratitude was challenged, right? And then you had to dig very deep. And challenged to a point where actually he almost lost his life. And I was there watching it. As he was basically, his life was coming out of him. Like physical life. He almost lost his physical life. So would you share the experience? You don't have to share the whole thing, but you can share what happened and how it was difficult for you maybe and then how you found your newfound uptick, right, in life.
So about 1 year ago, just over a year ago, November 14th, we were in the middle of a
The day that will live in the infamy.
We were in the middle of a workshop to get ready for winter competition. And actually the two of us were in charge of that workshop.
Yes.
We were the coordinators. We'd rotate every workshop. This workshop was like our workshop. And it was a great workshop. And on the very last day, on the last meal, we got asked by to meet with our president, Reverend Dunkley, in one of the cabins at Morgan's Ranch over dinner, and I had no idea what it was. But within a few minutes, he told us that this mission is over. He wanted to change our mission. And it was such a shock. Actually, many times I look back, why didn't I contest or argue or question more? I think it was shell shock. Because I saw myself doing this for years. Like I felt this is what I do. And this is why God kind of raised me and prepared me for all these years. I didn't see myself as that. I was actually hoping to not be the director because I don't like being in the spotlight, under pressure, the lightning rod that gets hit first. Not my favorite thing. but I saw myself maybe in a role of a mentor, or I could be the gardener on the property that we were going to buy. I'd be perfectly happy doing that. Just saw myself being around this environment of youth and education and training. So yeah, I was totally blindsided, I would say, and yeah, as you mentioned, many blows, but this was like the final knockout blow. Like, and it was hard to get up. It was months of trying to be grateful, trying to find meaning, and trying to find God's maybe intent through this. Counseling, praying every single day, praying about gratitude, but throughout the day, anger, resentment, frustration, pain creeping in every single day for months, for about 8 months. But meanwhile, yeah, we were busy. We started our business, which is great. We really didn't waste time.
We wanted to take 3 months break, but somehow.
Yeah. And I can talk about the business some other time, but yeah, it's been amazing. I've learned so much, and I feel God through this too. But yeah, those maybe 8 months, I was going along and trying to be grateful, but just fighting, constantly fighting. And at some point in August, I started to become sick. And I lost appetite first. That was like a surprise. I got 2 burgers in front of me that I usually eat, and I could just eat half.
He never loses appetite.
Yeah. and I never lose energy, but I was losing energy. And first I thought maybe it's a COVID or something, it's just going to pass after like 3-5 days, and I'm getting weaker and weaker. So over a course of 10 days, I lost 10 pounds. Some of you might be jealous, but actually for me it's not good news. It takes me like 6 months to regain this 10 pounds. But even I mean, I still try to go to work, and I try to do stuff, but our work is physical. It's lifting, carrying, breaking stuff. Like, I remember this flight of stairs. At the time we were working in a music
You know the chocolate
music studio.
factory, chocolate near the highway?
Yeah. So there's a top floor, 3rd floor, there's this flights of stairs, which usually I would just like run up. And I could barely make it like kind of one flight, and I have to like stop and breathe, and then next flight. It was just like death.
I thought he will die. Because I know him. So I can, so I told him go to doctor.
Yeah. But I'm pretty stubborn, and then I don't like going to doctors. And but at some point it got to the point, well, this is not gonna pass, and it's getting worse and worse. So I prayed to find a good doctor, and I prayed that I would get a doctor who actually genuinely cared and was interested to find out and wouldn't just prescribe something and send me off. And actually the doctor I had was really good, thorough. He asked lots of questions. And then he said, okay, I'm going to test you for this, a whole list of blood tests. And had he not done all of these blood tests, he wouldn't have diagnosed what I had. So it came up to be babesiosis, which is tick-borne. So Lyme, everyone knows Lyme, but very few people know babesiosis, which is tick-borne disease. And what it does is, talked about liver in the beginning, right? It eats your liver. That's why you have no appetite. And then it destroys your red blood cells. My red blood cell count was like almost 0. Surprising I was still alive.
He was severely anemic.
Yeah. So interestingly, I had, from that diagnosis and starting to take antibiotics, I had 10 days before going to Alaska. So Mie and Ayrton were up in Alaska doing fishing, and they had invited me. And I've never been to Kodiak. I've been to Alaska fundraising, but I've never been to Kodiak. And so yeah, they bought me this ticket, and exactly 10 days taking the antibiotics, trying to get myself incrementally more healthy every day, and I was able to fly. It was rough. I mean, I was still I was not in good shape when I arrived in Kodiak. People could see like I was really skinny, and but it was a Sunday. Actually, landed on Saturday night, and then Sunday we get to meet the Kodiak community. And there's a couple there. Some of you know Mike and Crystal Bronkhorst. They live in New Jersey. I never met them in like all these years in New Jersey, but I met them in Kodiak, Alaska. And immediately they came up to me and said, "Oh, we heard you had Alicia, right? How are you doing?" And she actually, Crystal had it 3 or 4 years before, and she almost died. She was actually in the hospital.
It is a lethal disease if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, if you don't know what it is, if you're not diagnosed, there's actually, she told me there's a blessed child in New Jersey, 17 years old, who died. Because if you're not diagnosed from it, they'll never know, and it just eats away your liver, your red blood cells, until you have no more life in you. So she was in hospital, actually starting to transition and see her ancestors and everything, and she came back. And she said, "Wow, you're so lucky that they diagnosed you properly." And it's only then, on that day, on that Sunday in Kodiak, that I realized what happened. That actually God, just like Moses, Jacob, God tried to kill them because he had to do something really strong to make a shift in them. And then I realized, wow, actually God did this to me. And the amazing thing that happened is when I was at the very bottom of this sickness, no life, no energy, all the anger and frustration and pain just dissipated. So I was literally reborn. And this 10 days or something in Alaska, it was just a surge of new life. I was so grateful to be alive. I realized actually God put me through this, but also God resurrected me, and I was reborn. And what an amazing place, Kodiak, Alaska, to be reborn in. I was just surrounded by the beauty. I mean, every single day, the bears, the wildlife, the ocean, the berries, the hikes, and I just felt this surge of like life and energy coming back into me. I remember going on a hike, and that's where like everything came back, and I felt I'm back. I'm like 100% again. Yeah, so that was God had to do that out of love, right? Kind of put me through hell. But sometimes that's what God has to do to kind of shake us up. And that's where I'm at now. And not that I'm happy about what happened, but it is what it is. And I've accepted it, and I've moved on. And
Would you say it was difficult for you because your identity was tied into that?
yeah, for sure. Sense of mission has always been strong for me. A sense of identity connected to a mission, and I still think, we all have a mission, and I need to figure out. Now I'm in this stage, figure out what my mission doesn't mean having a position or something, but what is my mission in life? Of course, family is our greatest mission and greatest accomplishment and my greatest legacy, but I still have a good 20 years to make a difference and impact.
Hopefully more. Yeah. I know for sure. I believe that God does these things to us, and in order to switch our focus, right? And many times it's very painful, especially when you invested years and years, right, into something. But thank you. I think we've been at it for a while, right? We can have this again sometime, or you can read his book that's coming out. Only $20. No? Oh, maybe 25.
Color.
In color, right?
$20, all right. But,
Yeah. I'll donate you $5. Yeah. But his stories are amazing. Literally, we didn't even scratch the surface, right?
That was a snippet.
Snippet, right, of what he actually went through as a leader, as a friend, and he's really my dear brother. I didn't know, I always remember that singing in apartments, right? I never knew that my destiny will be intertwined with this guy, and to a point where we really brothers. I really feel that way. I don't know how he feels, but I really feel that we are like a blood brothers. And then we were talking, I'm from a town that is 80% Jewish, 80, before the World War II, right? And he's kind of from that area, and he has some Jewish ancestors. So I'm thinking, we could be related, something. I don't know, possible. But anyway, we're all related, right? Even if we don't look alike, right? So. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Roland, for sharing, and it was really inspiring. I am really grateful to be part of that journey with you, and then hopefully we can also all make the impact on this community together, right? Thank you for listening. Was it all right? Or too boring?
No.
You want us to sing together? No.
Yes.
Don't let him sing. Okay, thank you guys.